Thanks, Aldo. Good. I didn't know that. Okay, Aldo, do you want to read, please? For those who
Yes.
didn't read material, what are what are, because it's a covenant, so what is?
The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Being part of only one major institution, the HR Bill of Rights, the ICCPR, is an international human rights treaty adopted by the United Nations in 1966. It is a key international human rights treaty providing a range of protections for civil and political rights.
Good. There is one more. It's a lot more, but please, if you want to continue.
Yes.
It says, ICCP rights are including those
fundamental.
related
Yes.
to, and then you go for the other part.
Yes. First of all, freedom from torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Freedom from slavery. Punishment. Freedom from slavery and forced labor. Arrest, detention, and imprisonment. Movements into, within, and out of a state. Treatment by the judicial process. Privacy, home and family life. Freedom of thoughts, religion, and expression. Peaceful assembly. Freedom of association, including thoughts, trade unions. Marriage and the rights of children. Political participation and equality and non-discrimination.
Good. Well, a lot of ideas that comprises most of the articles of the first covenant, the ICCPR. Any questions as regards vocabulary, pronunciation, anything you want to go deeper with this? I guess it's kind of clear, but you may have some questions. Remember, being part of the Human Rights Bill of Rights, the covenants are part of this main Bill of Rights, as well as the other covenants that we are going to see later. But the important thing is that the ICCPR, the ICCPR rights, the rights are fundamental to enabling people to enjoy a broad range of human rights, including those related to the ones that Aldo read. Okay, any questions? We are okay here?
Well, what's the difference, or they are similar, a covenant and a treaty?
Yes, they are quite similar and they are pretty much the same.
Okay.
Yes, covenants, and you may see it as sometimes as treaties, covenants, deeds. Well, deals, there are many ways to say it, but in this case we are dealing with covenants because that's the international covenants. You may say international treaties as well, and you may see it for other treaties, for other, but in this case we have covenants, yes, but they're pretty much the same. Good. Let's go for the second covenant, this one, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, the second main element in this unit. Who is going to read it? We have a lot of people here. I don't want to say you read it, so you can say,
I read, teacher.
Okay, teacher, I go. Sorry?
When?
Who says that?
I can read.
Okay, do it.
Well,
Yes.
the ICE, do you hear me? Hear me?
Yes, I do.
Ah, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. The ICCPR is one of the 9 core United Nations human rights treaties. It is
Mhm.
part of the International Bill of Human Rights with, with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. The International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights entered into force on 3 January 1976, 3 months after the date of deposit with the Secretary General of the 35th Instrument of Ratification or accession as provided in Article 27.
Good. And let's see what are the main tenets of this covenant. What are the main ideas comprised in this covenant? ICCPR rights are fundamental to enabling people to enjoy a broad range of human rights, including those related to, you keep on reading, work,
Okay.
uh,
Work,
yeah, work, yes.
uh,
What
uh,
else?
fair, fair and just condition of work, social security, an
Mhm.
adequate standard of living, including adequate food, clothing, and housing, health, and education.
Good, great. Remember, two main treaties, two main covenants included in the Bill of Human Rights as the main core of that document. And those are the main tenets, the main ideas that this covenant have, these two main covenants have. Um, the acronyms are not so easy to remember. The ICCPR, well, that's kind of, but then we have the ICESCR, which is a little bit more difficult, but it's okay. We have a video. We have a video and a listening activity as regards these two covenants, okay? How are you with the covenants, with the listenings? Are you okay with that? Yes. What do you think? Uh, how long have you been, or since, I don't know if you are studying now English, but I guess you have a lot of input from YouTube, from the media in general, from social networks. So I guess it's a little bit more or simpler than some years ago. So let's see how it goes. We have a listening and we have some true or false activity. The true or false activity is there. I don't know if you can see it. Yes, international law. Yes, can you see it? Yes, just to make sure. Yes, is it there? Is it
Yes,
there?
yes.
Good. Sorry, I'm not used to the Zoom thing. I'm more a classroom guy. So, in fact, this is the first time I'm using Zoom. So that's why I'm not sure about these things or these functions. But anything you tell me, please. So we have a listening. I will play the video and you have to work on these four main statements. And you will say, okay, that is true or that is false. Gise, can you read the 4 statements in advance before the video? For all
Yes.
your classmates, please. Okay.
The first is international law is not a truly enforceable law by the state parties.
Enforceable.
second.
Yes. It's not truly
Enforceable.
enforceable law by the state parties. Yes, enforceable,
Okay.
truly enforceable. What's the meaning of that? A law is when a law is enforceable. ¿Qué significa? What's the meaning of that?
Mm,
In
¿Qué sería?
English,
Something that is mandatory to the states.
Okay, yes. Yeah, it's yes. Aldo, you have some other idea?
no, my question was just in English or in
Yes, yes.
Spanish.
Well, in English, Spanish.
No, es que es
Of
más
course, in English
ejecutable,
will
es
be
más,
better,
tiene más
but-
fuerza ejecutoria, más que mandatory. Era como más fuerza ejecutoria, una cosa así, pero no sabía cómo decirlo en inglés.
Okay, that is enforceable. We know that now it's enforceable. So the first one is international law is not a truly enforceable law by the state parties. Yes. The second one, Gise, can you
Yes.
read it?
The second is states are compelled to follow international treaties in order to maintain positive relationship within the international community.
Oh, hello.
I'm
Am I
sorry.
here?
Hello.
Se cortó.
Yes.
Hello.
I'm sorry.
Ah,
Can I read again?
¿me corté yo o...? Yes,
No, no.
please. Yes, please.
Okay,
Ah, okay,
sorry.
sorry. So it was your connection. Okay.
And the states are compelled to follow international treaties in order to maintain positive relationship within the international community.
It's good. True or false? We will see. States are compelled, meaning that it's obligados o no. Okay, compelled. Good. Number 3. Oy. There, number 3.
Continue.
Signing a treaty. Can you
Signing a treaty
Yes,
makes it legally
signing.
binding.
Okay, if you sign a treaty, you make it legal. Legally binding, yes, vinculante, digamos. Legalmente vinculante. True or false? Okay, and number 4.
Some states may be hesitant to adhere to IAN's
Hesitant,
treaties
sí,
since
como
they
international, yeah.
they may compromise
Yes,
their sorry.
How can you pronounce that? How can you pronounce that? Sovereignty.
Their
Sovereignty.
sovereignty.
It's
Sovereignty.
difficult. No, Sovereignty. Sovereignty.
Sovereignty. Okay, sovereignty.
So it says, may be hesitant to adhere to international treaties. International treaties. I was too lazy to write international, so I wrote int. International treaties, since they may compromise their sovereignty. Good. Okay. So are you ready for the listening?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Good. I have it here, someone here. Okay. I will share again my YouTube. So the activity itself, the start in the for just to check it there. Okay. So if we are ready, I will play. Okay. Ready? Let me know so I
Yes.
start playing the video. Good. Great.
First, let's talk about this idea of international law. International law isn't really law per se, but more a series of customs and international agreements and arrangements about how the global community should operate, more so than a truly enforceable law. At the end of the day, the global community operates under state sovereignty. While a state going against international law might see some repercussions in terms of possibly sanctions or just some finger wagging, at the end of the day, states can still, for the most part, do whatever they want. However, states are compelled to follow international law in order to maintain positive relations with the rest of the international community. In terms of human rights, depending on how you classify them, there are between 9 and 18 documents that make up the body of human rights law. And you can see a list of these just scrolling down right next to me here. These come in the form of treaties, conventions, and covenants that all have a very similar role, and the names are used interchangeably. What these do is create binding agreements between states. If a state that ratifies one of these and breaks it, they are seen as breaking international law. First, one of these treaties is drafted by the UN. After a treaty is drafted by the UN, individual states are encouraged to sign it. Signing it, however, doesn't quite yet make it binding. What signing it does is it compels the states to agree to the principles of the new forthcoming treaty. However, after a state signs it, they then have the option to ratify it. And once a state ratifies a treaty, it then binds the state to that treaty, and the state is then known as being a party to the treaty. Let's take a look at a few examples here. Two of the more important human rights treaties are the dual covenants that were signed in 1976. The first is the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. And the second is the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights.
Good. Good, good. How was it? Again? Do you want me to play it again? Yes.
Yes, please.
Remember? Yes, yes. Don't worry. Don't worry. Let's do it again. They're just 2 minutes. Take a time, take just 1 minute to reread again the statements, and we will play it again. Okay? Let's see. We have it here on the chat. It says, I will read it. International law is not a truly enforceable law by the state parties. Yes. States, true or false? States are compelled to follow international treaties in order to maintain positive relationships with the international community. True or false? Signing a treaty makes it legally binding. True or false? And finally, some states may be hesitant to adhere to international treaties since this this treaty may compromise their sovereignty. Okay, true or false? Again, we are going to play the video again. No, here. Sorry about that. Okay, here. Is it on the screen? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good, good.
First, let's talk about this idea of international law. International law isn't really law per se, but more a series of customs and international agreements and arrangements about how the global community should operate, more so than a truly enforceable law. At the end of the day, the global community operates under state sovereignty. While a state going against international law might see some repercussions in terms of possibly sanctions or just some finger wagging, at the end of the day, states can still, for the most part, do whatever they want. However, states are compelled to follow international law in order to maintain positive relations with the rest of the international community. In terms of human rights, depending on how you classify them, there are between 9 and 18 documents that make up the body of human rights law. And you can see a list of these just scrolling down right next to me here. These come in the form of treaties, conventions, and covenants that all have a very similar role, and the names are used interchangeably. What these do is create binding agreements between states. If a state that ratifies one of these and breaks it, they are seen as breaking international law. First, one of these treaties is drafted by the UN. After a treaty is drafted by the UN, individual states are encouraged to sign it. Signing it, however, doesn't quite yet make it binding. What signing it does is it compels the states to agree to the principles of the new forthcoming treaty. However, after a state signs it, they then have the option to ratify it. And once a state ratifies a treaty, it then binds the state to that treaty, and the state is then known as being a party to the treaty. Let's take a look at a few examples here. Two of the more important human rights treaties are the dual covenants that were signed in 1976. The first is the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. And the second is the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights.
Good. I think it was okay. How was it? Could you do it? Enzo, how was it?
Yes, I understand it.
Good. Because you're young and you're full of energy and you're from the next generation watching YouTube and influencers, and you're okay. That's good. Yes. What about Camila, Janina, Clarissa? Could you do it? Let's see. What about the first one? Clarissa says yes, of course. Yes, please. Well, let's see. International law. I think so. Okay. What do you think, Janina? International law is not a truly enforceable law by the state parties. True or false? What do you think?
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
Yes, the first one. International law is not a truly enforceable law by the state parties. Think of an international law such as the treaties that we are dealing with. Are they enforceable by the states, by the countries, by the parties? Are they enforceable or not?
Enforceable.
Ok, ¿qué era enforceable? Como ejecutable. Un international law, como los tratados estos que estamos viendo, ¿no? ¿Son ejecutables por las partes de estos treaties? O las partes, digamos, las partes.
Only
the
nations.
party.
Yeah. I think yes.
So you say true.
Yeah, say true.
True or false, my fellow students? True or false? What do you think?
False.
False.
They are not enforceable.
So it's true, because it says international law is not a truly enforceable law by the state parties.
True, true.
True. Yes,
True.
true. Yes. If you say true, it's okay, because the guy in the video says something very interesting, that international law, in terms of the general idea, it's not really enforceable by the parties, because at the end of the day, every party decides what to do. They are not truly enforceable, no son ejecutables así como vienen, ¿no? Después vamos a ver que hay como two stages, dos etapas. But just because they are part of an international law, for example, estos treaties, estos covenants, no significa que sean ejecutables por sus partes. Yes? So it's true, digamos. Esta international law o cualquier otra, ¿no? The parties adhere to these treaties. They sign the treaties, pero después hay otra parte, ¿no? Ok, vamos a ver. So it's true. Okay, true. Good. Number 2, it says, states are compelled to follow international treaties in order to maintain positive relationships within the international community. Yes, esto es como si los estados están obligados a seguir estos tratados internacionales para mantener una relación positiva dentro de la comunidad internacional. Yes? Is it true or false?
True.
True. Yes, true. True. Todos dijeron true. Yes. Sí. No hesitations. Yes. No sé si alguien te puede obligar a firmar esto, pero de alguna manera implícitamente, to maintain positive relationships within the international community, you are compelled to follow these treaties, okay? Number 3 says, signing a treaty makes it legally binding, yes? Esto es, si firmamos un tratado, lo hacemos vinculante, legalmente vinculante. True or false? Este es más difícil.
False.
False.
I think.
False. 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 Todos dijeron false. Yes. ¿Por qué? Why?
Because we need the ratification, no?
Great. Thanks, Aldo. Good. The author of the video, the guy in the video, talks about these two stages: signing first and ratification as a later process. Yes. So first you have to sign it, and then if you want, you can ratify it. But that's optional. Yes. And he says that when you ratify the treaty, well, in some way you make it binding, legally binding, okay? By signing means agreeing to the terms, but doesn't mean that you are making it legally binding, okay? Si voy muy rápido me avisan. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't say that before, but if you want me to repeat something, to go back, or Just say it. Don't worry. Number 4. Some states may be hesitant. ¿Sí? Esto es, por ahí no lo conocen algunos. May be hesitant es como que no tienen esa actitud positiva hacia adherirse a estos tratados. ¿Sí? Eso es esa may be hesitant means that. ¿Sí? Como que no están tan willing de firmar estos treaties since they may compromise their sovereignty. Yes, claro, puede comprometer, ¿sí?, su soberanía legal, of course, al adherir tratados internacionales. That is true or false. True or false. ¿No? ¿Esa no la agarraron?
I don't think if we reach that part on the video.
Ah, ¿no está esa part of the video?
I don't remember.
I think probably it is, probably no. I don't remember. Probably I should have played a video a little longer. A ver. Veamos, quizás. A ver. Sorry, probably it's my fault. Vamos a escucharlo un poquito más. A ver.
What these aim to do is enshrine some of the ideas from the Declaration of Human Rights into binding international law. Because these covenants are binding, the ratification is a little bit more spotty, especially in the case of the United States. The United States traditionally has been very hesitant to ratify these human rights treaties, believing that it infringes on their sovereignty. One example of one of these major international human rights treaties that the
Just.
You're right, Enzo.
Very good.
That part was missing. Very good.
Yeah.
So, is it possible that some states may be hesitant to adhere to these treaties since they may compromise their sovereignty? True or false?
True.
True.
True. And he gave us an example of one particular state, which is
The United States.
the United States.
The US.
The US. Yes. Good. 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 That was good. Thanks. I will leave the video somewhere. I will ask Adela. I will leave the video so you can go there and watch it again and again and again. In case you want to see the full video. It's kind of long. I guess it's like 10 minutes, but it's very interesting. Okay, so probably if I can do it, I can leave it on the chat, or well, we will see later on. Good. Let's go for the second part of the class. We have to go faster. Okay. Any questions as regards the listening? Can we continue? The listening was good. I think it was a little bit difficult, but I think it was okay. Let's go for the second part of the class. The language-oriented part of the class, okay? First of all, I will stop the video and I will record again, just to not to make it long. A ver. Ah, no. Okay.